Good evening. Good evening. I like to call. I don't think my mic's working. Good evening. There it goes. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Open Space and Conservation Commission regular meeting for Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Like everybody stand for a Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to open this up to the public. Is there anybody here who would like to discuss anything that is not on the agenda for this evening? Okay, hearing none. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and continue the show cause hearing for Meadow Properties LLC, former Rocky Hill landfill, 339 Meadow Road. Is there anybody here from Meadow Properties? Please step up to the podium and state your name and address, please, for the record.
Bear with me, please. I got shingles about 2 weeks ago.
Ooh. Okay.
My name is Angelo Ortizi. I live at 98 Middle Turnpike in Mansfield Depot, Connecticut.
Okay. Okay, sir, and I know you are aware of what's going on, and
I am.
could you give us an update as to the status?
Sure. Let me give you a little background first. I've been involved in this since it first started with Mr. Greco and Mr. Lyschatz. And I left the employment of Meadow Properties / Central about 8 years ago, and I returned 3 years ago. And I had asked Rob when I came back, what's status, what's going on, and I got news I didn't want to get about conditions at the landfill and things that have been done. I worked real closely with Kim Ritchie and Jim Salmi before to try to see that things were done as they should be. So we've got some issues up there now. Admittedly, Mr. Lyschatz has done some things he shouldn't have done. And basically what I did is I asked them to let me step in again. And I'm got no problem saying I'm sure you'd be happier dealing with me than Mr. Lyschatz. It is what it is. So 2 days ago, I entered into an agreement with Red Technologies to utilize the services of their LEP. And Lou is here with me. He's from Red Tech. We just signed an agreement, and I'm going to have him assist me in putting together a plan that hopefully, the town will be fine with. We'll talk with David and other people in the town to make sure they're okay with it. We'll take guidance from them. And what I'm going to ask is that since Lou literally just stepped in Red Tech, that we're allowed some time to come and bring that plan to you. It needs to be something formal.
Yes.
That obviously that you would accept. So I'd like to have him put something together for me and then bring it forward to Dave and see if it's, meets the criteria that you're looking for. But we're not prepared tonight to tell you what we're going to do. He's just come on board and he's qualified. I'm going to have him step up and he can introduce himself and, give you his background. And then see what we can do about a future date to come in with everything you'll need.
Okay, so Mr. Lyschatz he's stepping away right now from this instant, and you're going to go ahead and
I'm going to
represent Meadow Properties.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure if you're aware. I know Ellen and Dave, and it's been a long time. They're aware that I'm fully knowledgeable about the landfill and what it takes to correct these issues. But we need to hear it from someone who's obviously licensed.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Chairman, I forgot.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Commissioner Stevens is recusing himself from this in his place. Commissioner Cepino is going to go ahead and vote in his place. Okay. Let's go ahead and start right now. Is there any questions right now for Mr. Orstini, is it
Ortizi.
Ortizi? Thank you.
No problem.
Clarifying question.
Sure.
So there's been no wetland delineation, nothing done, because Mr. Lychak did have, had a letter that he was getting representation and that he said he had somebody ready to come out.
The
and do
wetlands had been delineated years ago.
I meant
We'll have-
recently, yeah,
They'll
recently.
obviously have to go in and
Said since February 14th.
reflag and,
Okay.
and present it, that as part of the plan.
Okay, and an LEP can do that?
Yes.
Are you a soil scientist or a wetland scientist? Okay, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You have one on staff?
Can you please
Yes.
step up to the podium, please?
But you are not.
Can I sit, please?
Yes, please.
You are
Yes.
not a wetland scientist.
No, not personally.
Which
I'm
is what
Louis.
we required tonight.
Okay. I'm Louis Meritori, the LEP, licensed environmental professional in Connecticut and a certified hazardous materials manager. I'm with RED Technologies. RED's a remediation engineering and development company. That's what RED stands for. So landfills is one of our specialties. That's what we do. My job is to facilitate these types of projects and get them done. I'm going to be the one preparing the corrective action plan. I personally am not a soil scientist for wetlands delineation and that. We have one on staff that we use. Under my direction, we'll be putting it together, remapping and reflagging all the wetlands, the FEMA line, all the stuff that is required to have buffers and not encroach upon and to do it properly, basically. So that's what I can tell you right now. I only started on this a day ago. I have some historical knowledge regarding the property, but it's not of much worth until I get deeper into reviewing the documents and moving this forward.
So to clarify, in case you guys don't know, an LEP is a licensed environmental professional. They may, like you said, they mainly deal with contamination, which is good. I think that he would bring a good plan to the table.
We have
because-
ethics to follow too and everything else where we can't do anything funny,
Correct.
there's no
You're
funny
licensed.
business, so
You're
it's
licensed,
kind of
yeah.
important. I'm also on the LEP board in Connecticut, so, I take it a little more serious probably than others,
I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, we requested a, delineation and
Yeah.
a soil and erosion control plan, which doesn't have to be an LEP, but you
Right.
bring the contamination aspect to it, and I think that's important, so.
Yeah, and then, I've been doing this 30 years. I've probably worked on 50 landfills, 60 landfills between repairs, closure, monitoring, all sorts of different parts of it, from conceptual design to closure. Personally, this is a perfect project for me. I'm actually kind of excited to be doing it. I think working with Angela will probably be a good fit to get this moving forward in a direction.
I've worked with Red Technology for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. I used to be the field services coordinator for CRA, and I ran the Hartford landfill, Shelton, Wallingford landfill, and 13 different transfer stations. Thank you, I'm sorry. Is that it?
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Tad.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I've got questions. You don't need to get up when I get my questions.
Thank you. I've been involved in overseeing the construction of 5 landfills, 2 that were piggybacks, one that was a virgin landfill, and 2 that were old landfills that we reopened with the company I worked for. I've capped about 500 acres of landfills. So, again, I think it's a great fit to be working with Lou. He can bring the technical aspect of it that needs to be documented. And, I can assist definitely in how whether it's repairs going forward on the actual landfill itself or corrective actions for what's taken place.
Okay, thank you. Let's start down. Commissioner Subpoena, do you have any questions?
All right, now.
Okay, Commissioner Beatty? Commissioner Brown?
Thanks. First from Mr. Ortiz, you are aware that last month Mr. Lychet said that he would have a plan for us. He had a person that he said was, a letter working with, and I just want to confirm nothing came of that, or he...
I advised Mr. Lyschatz that individual would not be suitable for what needs to take place. thought it was. He wasn't just blowing smoke. He honestly thought he found somebody that could take care of what needs to be done, but the person's basically a surveyor.
Excellent answer. Thank you. Next question is for your consultant. You're aware that there's two issues that we're working with, that there's the capping the landfill, which is a DEEP, it's their jurisdiction, and we're concerned about soil runoff into the brook.
Right, and from what I understand, yours is the priority.
Well, to us. The town hates seeing the brook getting contaminated
Right,
with,
and in reality, it is the first step.
yeah.
You know, addressing what you need addressed, and then theirs is more long-term. And whatever
Again,
else that they
excellent
need to
answer.
after that,
Thank you.
so.
If you would, I met with Deep a week ago, and I believe
We have an email
Yeah.
recap.
and I was happy to see some of the individuals that were in there. Mr. McKeegan he's been with the state forever. I think I started working in landfills his first year when he started with the state. So I'm glad he's still around.
Okay. All right, so you guys are just starting, but
Earnestly.
yes, I was going to say, you guys are confident that we can get some form of resolution to this in not immediately, because we want it done right.
Correct.
Okay, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Kurtz?
Yeah, so related to that, I'm just kind of wondering, you had said, Lou, that you just started yesterday, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so, I don't know what that means, but, how typical is it, based on what you know, to be able to assess and make, a plan?
So I said I had some historical knowledge regarding the property. Monday, Dave was nice enough to leave out the files for me to review, your town files, and I spent about an hour just flipping through stuff to see what was there that I might not have seen before and things like that. When he had the big box on the table, I was kind of like, oh boy, this is going back forever. And it's like back to the 70s. Basically, you have quite extensive records, which is nice to actually see. But so far, basically, at that point, I was trying to review the correspondence between state, town, and Meadow Properties to see if it was actually something I really thought was going to be a fit for us and that we could do and be a positive contributor to. Obviously, I'm here tonight because I think we're going to be a good fit and try and get this thing moving forward. That being said, there's some time to come up to speed, and then it's a little bit more time to put the quality and detail into a plan that this project really needs and deserves. I mean, it's not just like throw up silt fence, move some trees, fill in a hole, and we're done. There's a little bit more here.
Right.
And there has to be some thought into what goes into the beginning of the plan
The order.
to how we're going to end up at the next steps in the end of the plan, and then eventually when we have to deal with the state. So all these things have to kind of somehow be put together or anticipated for future correspondence with the regulatory agencies that we may need to deal with.
Okay, so I guess you don't really know, right? So that's fair based
You
on
probably
your
could have just said right now, I
explanation.
don't know.
Yeah, okay.
So-
Yeah, without a solution, it's hard to, but you got to put the solution together.
I need to do more research
Yeah.
into the historical stuff.
Have you actually been to the site
I have not been there in a while.
in a while? Okay.
I've seen pictures, recent pictures,
Okay.
of the tree removal, I think that went on. And I've looked at quite a bit of historical stuff when it was just a bunch of scrub-type vegetation around, from years back.
So one more question. So as you said, you would be approaching this very methodically because you want to sequence the work appropriately
Yeah.
so that it doesn't undo, the previous step, I imagine, with the ultimate. You talked about showing the plan to staff, which is great. Will you be able to intermittently show plan progress to staff versus waiting till the complete end? Is that something you can do?
I think we could. It would be up to Meadow, how to share it.
I'd like to
Plan is that-
absolutely have intermittent cadences around progress and on paper shared with our staff. That would be something I would ask for. So the first milestone would be when you will be determining about how long the plan will take. Is it fair to say that would take you a couple of weeks?
Just tell you a little bit more. There's
Just to even know how long the plan will take? The plan for the plan?
I don't want to, without doing the proper research and knowing the actual extent of all the files that I have to review, I don't.
So you don't know if the research will be 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks?
I have an idea. I'm reluctant to commit or say something. I know what typical plans that I've written like this take.
Okay.
However, I don't want to say something to you
Correct.
and promise 4 weeks, and then here we are at 4 weeks
right.
saying, oh, you know what? I really didn't get
So
to it.
Why don't I ask it another way? I will ask that I know it's micromanaging. Every week, I would like you to give Mr. Palmberg an update on what you've accomplished, what research you've done, and anticipated any big concerns or changes and then moving towards when you'll have the plan ready.
Yeah.
Fair?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, we got to put that to a vote, too.
Oh, okay. Well, I put that in there. That's what I want. I'll make a motion later. Sorry.
All right. Secretary Kelly?
Yes, hello. Louis, I'm sorry, I didn't get your last name.
Muratori.
Muratori, Mr. Muratori. I'm sorry you only were brought in 2 days ago. I know this is a challenge for you. I have no doubt about your credentials or Red Technologies. That's not my question. I have no questions about how long this will take because, not doubting your credentials, I trust it'll be done properly. Mr. Ortiz, I don't know when Mr. Lyschatz told you what happened at the February 14th meeting. Did he tell you on February 15th that he had a month to produce a plan, not to just start the process eventually? He did. Okay, so, and I'm repeating what you've heard. We've been waiting. This has been going on months. 4 months now? I don't know. I can't remember how many months we've been meeting on this issue. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. That's not a problem. But now we're delayed again in just starting when we were supposed to have something tonight. So it's not your fault. I don't know when you were made aware. I don't know if Greg just got around to it. That's the problem. And I think that's what, as a commission, we're going to deal with tonight because it's extremely aggravating. We have put months into this, and we're getting nowhere until hopefully tonight. So, I'm not asking you for timelines and benchmarks and, get what you're doing. We'll get to a deadline. We'll reach that as a commission, I think. So thank you very much.
I'll be
I hope
honest
that
with
makes
you.
sense.
Yeah.
I did not want to get back involved in this whole process again,
Oh, I can imagine.
but at the same time.
I mean, I give you credit for stepping in
Well,
with him.
I feel a sense of responsibility for it because I have a high interest in seeing everything's done properly. And working with staff in the past, I believe they'll tell you that they had confidence in what I would tell them. But I wouldn't be able to step in here and tell you that, everything is going to be perfect and everything. I've got battles to deal with every day. But I have been given the assurance that if I desired, I could basically step in and oversee it as I did initially as a project manager. This is above and beyond my job that I have.
That's not our problem.
No. I'm saying.
I appreciate that, but
believe-
that's not for us to be concerned with.
No, I believe it kind of is because I think that my being involved is going to make this much smoother.
I don't think we doubt that. The issue, I'm sorry. It's my turn.
I'm not going to offer an apology for what's happened these last few months because I
I understand.
but what I can tell you is that I am involved now, and what myself and Red Technologies, Lou, presents to you today and going forward will be adhered to.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner O'Connor.
So, I'm just going to state a couple of things, it's, just to put it out there again. So, this started several months ago, and we got Mr. Elisha got a letter from someone that he's like, I have somebody that I'm going to use. In that letter, it clearly said, we don't do wetland delineations, and we're going to work on getting somebody. At that time, which was several months ago, we said, this doesn't seem to be what you need. You need to get somebody who can do your delineations and do this work. And he said, okay, I'll look into that and I'll get somebody. And, he got somebody and they went to go out and then somebody died. And then, it's excuse after excuse, so I think the issue here is this site is not stabilized. It's not, well, somewhat, right? But not completely. So for you to take a while and not have anything done, while it could snow again, it could melt again, we could have lots of rain. Meanwhile, the site could be worse and nothing's happening. We need something done ASAP on the site. At least put some sort of stabilizing measures down or something. And then work on a sediment erosion control plan is not going to take that long. You just need to do a delineation and take a couple days maybe, and put together a plan for us, at least. And then you can work on doing all the other stuff that you need to do to make DEP happy. But for us, we need to make sure that site is immediately stabilized and immediately the wetlands are protected. We can't keep going for 5-6 months with exposed wetlands right now. So, they're sort of protected, but not very much. So I think that's why we're a little upset, because it's, the wetlands are exposed.
So you're
And
more or less proposing an interim control plan.
correct.
As long as there's, the cease and desist doesn't enter into it at all, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
In 2 days, we could do enough to not completely control or stabilize, but make big improvements over there.
Correct. That's what we need. And
Even I can talk on that as far as, whether it's silt fencing, hay bales, whatever it is.
yeah, I think right now there's just some.
Right now,
chickens.
there's partial wood chip berm.
Correct.
And the cease and desist order excluded activities to stabilize the site. So that's the only concern, which probably bounce off the LEP, that, any erosion controls like silt fence, we didn't want to go there because we didn't want to be driving things into the
Right.
top. So whatever, you feel is appropriate for whether it's wattles
Wattles
or
or-
wood
yeah.
chips
I think
or
the,
something else. Placement of those.
Wood chips
Seeding,
could
we're
be
coming fast into the
very
seeding
fast.
season. Temporary seed, we wanted winter ryegrass. This all started in October.
So
October.
Then
the one thing I did read was the cease and desist, and it said no activities at the site. So
There was an exclusion
it
too.
was the wood chips, was the,
Wood chips and whatever
Right.
erosion controls and seeding.
Yeah, non-invasive erosion
Yeah,
controls.
non-invasive erosion controls.
which are temporarily effective,
Right,
as you know.
right.
yeah.
Next week, my plan is to take Lou up to the site and show him the facility, and exactly what it looks like, and he's knowledgeable, like he said, about what needs to be done. There is one settled low area in the landfill that is not good. And what I'd probably look to do is bring in, I don't know, 200 yards maybe in material to get that to where it's no longer a depression, accepting the, more liquid back into the landfill, which would do nothing but exacerbate the seeps on the side.
Yeah, that I would just say, make sure it complies with what that letter said from deep, and then maybe just run it by Dave, just to make sure it's appropriate material to be
Yeah,
brought in.
it would, well, we'll make sure the material is
I'm sure,
approved.
because you guys are experienced, you would know better than,
An interim plan can be as simple as a response letter to the cease and desist.
yeah.
Correct.
Right, and that's probably a better way of characterizing it as an interim plan, because we know you have to satisfy deep as well.
Yeah. And
Well, what they're looking for basically is what you're looking for, as far as for the, stabilization of the landfill. Anything beyond that, if there's a project going forward after that, is way down the horizon.
But as, if I may, as part of this preliminary plan, whatever you want to call it, one of the concerns is the material that eroded down those slopes into the wetlands. Unfortunately, there was brush piles along that perimeter that held most of it back, but we don't know, in the field, we don't know where the wetland line is and what any mitigation might be needed for the wetlands that were there. We have the line that was, the previous line that was delineated on the plan, but in the field, it's hard to tell where exactly that.
Well, that's why Lou had said that definitely reflagging has to take place. So you have a visual, look at exactly where the line is.
And then once it's flagged in the field and we see if there are any encroachments beyond the wetland line, what the commission wants to see done about
Yeah.
that.
Well, as I told you before, Dave, first of all, you're welcome on the site whenever you feel necessary. If you want to give me a call, I'll do like we did before. I'll come up, we'll go up together and look at it, so we're comparing apples with apples.
Yeah, and I think what's important too with the wetland line is to understand what's the correct wetland line and if there's any filled wetland, that will have to be remediated.
Again, that's why it's not 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
is the wetlands move. And the study that I saw was years old.
Yeah,
So we have an idea.
yeah.
How accurate it is, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the idea of an interim plan just to stabilize
Yeah.
the site, I think is.
That's
what we're-
reasonable.
It's probably at this point somewhat stabilized. Mr. Elijah said there's some stuff growing back and things like that, but still, I think with more rain in the spring coming, I think it would be good to just weed
Sure.
it immediately, yeah.
I mean, it will naturally revegetate itself over time, but it's a whole lot better to have that, the berms in place, and if need be, seeding, whatever it is, to ensure that we can optimize the efficiency of that actual vegetation.
Yep, I'm good.
Commissioner O'Connor?
So I hear, the uncertainty of the time in general, but I'm also not aware of, the details exactly of what your plan will entail. I just want to know that while you're working on the plan, that the upcoming planting season, it doesn't come and go without some physical action, activity out there.
I don't intend on taking months and months to do this. I have to move on to other projects, to be honest with you, too. So it has to get done.
Thank you.
Commissioner Schweitzer?
No questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that I do feel more confident that this will get rectified with you gentlemen taking the charge of it. Unfortunately, we do need to see something. This commission has been extremely patient with Mr. Lychek, and our patience have been worn thin, very thin. So we need to see something quickly.
We're gonna get right on this.
I appreciate that, and I believe you. I really do. So I'm glad we're going to see some movement on this, and hopefully get this rectified sooner rather than later, and make the public very happy too. So, okay. Anything else from any of the other commissioners? Any other questions? Dave, do you have anything to add?
No, just, you both have my contact information. Happy to meet you out there. I do have some additional files I found after you.
Oh, that's great.
There's no shortage of those.
Right.
But I'm happy to coordinate with you and try to expedite this as best we can.
Okay, great, thank you. If there's nothing else, can I please get a motion for the show cause hearing?
Do we need to ask if the public has anything at this point, or no? There's people here, so we need to-
It's not a public
Oh, it's not a public hearing, okay, sorry.
Madam Chairman, I have a motion.
Okay,
I would like to make a motion, it's got several points to it, to impose a one-time $250 fine, as this is a second violation per our regulations. The commission would like an interim plan submitted to Dave Palmberg within 10 business days. The commission wants a completed plan at the April meeting with the soil scientist present, so the commission can ask questions and be certain of all the details.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah. I don't know if getting a full plan is going to be feasible by April.
No.
Could we ask for a progress or draft plan so we are seeing progress?
Is it feasible by April? I mean, this is for
right,
going on
That's
for
really aggressive.
Well,
4 weeks?
That's aggressive. There's a lot for Lou to put together with the soil scientist and wetland specialist. I don't want to, like Lou said, I don't want to tell you we're going to do something just to make you happy.
What I would offer is the interim plan is not an issue for 10 days. That can be done. I can have a better update to provide by the weekly updates that
No,
we're going to be
that's not-
required
not.
in the next day or two, maybe.
What can you give us in April, in the next meeting?
I
do
can
you
show
have any
you
idea?
substantial progress. I can't say that I'm done or a full draft.
Would it-
Because then, as was brought up by Commissioner Schweitzer or O'Connor, we're looking at the growing season, and
Oh, yeah, certainly, yeah.
so then we're into May with theoretically a final plan, and then we're really into the growing season? I mean, is this,
But growing, I mean, for vegetative replacement, we're looking at hydroseed or some sort of engineered project. That'll be fine. You know, that's a day
Okay.
to spray. It's not a big deal. I mean, what we're looking here, it's kind of a recipe. It's not like, this isn't like rocket science or we're not splitting the atom here. This is this is kind of common stuff for us that we need to just put the proper steps in place and follow them to get to the end. And each task, there's a little bit that goes into each task. The delineation of the FEMA line, the wetlands, and things like that are very important because they're the benchmarks of kind of like the problem areas that we really need to establish. After that, I mean, to repair a seep it's filling a hole, you know, and then coming up with erosion controls that are going to last more than silt fence. It's, you know, it's not a big deal. And then
so can we have an update at the April meeting?
I want to give you an update prior. But yeah, certainly.
But in person, so if we have questions or
Oh, yeah, no, I'll come to,
Okay,
definitely.
I'll amend.
Would we have an approximate, like 30% or preliminary design level plan at that point? With you having details along with you and the plan of where you're looking to
more than
progress?
concept. Detailed to a good portion of it. My concern is that the level of effort into the wetlands, how much work needs to be repeated or redone. If there's extensive work that needs to be redone, it's not 4 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just not.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I can appreciate the position you're in. It's just, I mean, we're looking to see some
Yeah,
progress, and that's
certainly.
what we'd like to
Taking
see.
the wetlands out of the way, it's really a 4 or 5 step process of things to do. And they're all construction based, you know, pick this up, fill this in, you know, maintain this, things like that. To get it back to how it was prior to the activities out there that went on to clear it and whatever else and caused the seepage and the damage and things like that.
So by our April meeting, you're saying a concept level plan or a preliminary
On
design
the-
level plan?
I think so on the, hopefully more, on
Okay.
but on the more permanent corrective action.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get a letter done for interim measures much
Okay.
sooner
Yep.
out to
Understood.
you guys.
Would you like to make a friendly amendment with that wording?
If I could make a friendly amendment that we
Go
get
ahead.
at least a concept level plan from Mr. Ortizi and Red Technologies to be presented at the April meeting, and be able to answer questions and maybe have an update on where you're at and where you see your design progressing.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Along with the weekly ones that we'll
Well, that's
get
fine.
with Dave on.
No, do you want to?
I'm uncomfortable without every 2 weeks. No.
Commissioner Kurz, I think
Go
those would still be very beneficial for this, to see progress
So
weekly
Can
on this.
I make a friendly amendment?
Yep.
Can we still, can we add that we also get weekly updates in writing and also obviously we can go there and check. So it would be just the request for weekly progress in writing to staff.
Accepted.
Okay. Okay. All right, so I just want to review this before we put it to a vote. We've got a one-time $250 fine, interim plan within 10 days to staff. We had a friendly amendment to have a preliminary plan, concept plan for the April meeting, and weekly updates sent to staff. Do I have that correct?
Presented in person
Or in writing?
at the next meeting.
Yes, presented in person at the April meeting. Okay? Did I leave anything out? Dave?
Just a slight correction on the interim plans, 10 business days, just so.
Thank you, 10 business days. Yep. Okay, all right, since we've got it all ironed out, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nope, okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sorry, I'm writing notes.
Sure,
Um,
sure. So it's a,
Weekly updates to staff.
correct.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes. And then the concept plan preliminary.
April.
In person at the April meeting, which will be on, April 10th. Okay,
Another Wednesday.
Yeah,
It is, okay,
Wednesday, 6
Wednesdays.
o'clock.
yes,
Second Wednesday of the month.
Yep, April 10th.
yep. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, and again,
Thank you.
I know it's tight, but like I said, unfortunately, we have been dealing with this now since October, so,
Very understandable.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, next item on the agenda, actions taken minutes presented for approval for the February 14th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion to accept the minutes for the February 14th meeting.
Second.
Okay, discussion. There are none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nope. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Stevens, you back in?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, discussion, plan of conservation and development.
No meeting.
No meeting? Status report, various projects.
The Straska Farm project is getting closer to completion of the site work. As you're probably aware, we've been delayed by all the rain and then days needed for the site to dry out. We've lost a lot of time due to weather. We are hopeful that we may have the site work completed by the end of this week and begin excavation and installation of the footing for the barn next week, all weather dependent. We have had a arborist out to look at the trees that I had mentioned at the last meeting, where we had to cover some contaminated material. That area had expanded. A plan's being come up for that, with removal of those trees and possibly some trees being planted in an alternate location. We did receive 6 proposals for Phase 2 of the industrial park, proposed bridge or culvert that's at the end of Dividend Road at Old Forge. Going in, it's right where the lower Dividend Pond is. We're assessing those proposals, and that will be done Friday with, we're going to narrow it down. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 firms, I don't remember exactly, that we'll be doing interviews with, and then be making a recommendation. With some of the dry weather, we have been able to remove several obstructions throughout town on water courses, trees that have fallen over that had dammed up behind these trees in the summer storms that we had. So the large trees have been removed. Also, you may have noticed on the Silas Dean Highway, where Scuba Shack and that is, the buildings have been demolished. That is, was originally approved for Mercury Fuel for a gas station and convenience store, and a different outfit bought it, but for the same use, following the approved plans. So the demolition of the buildings is done. They have some more, pavement and concrete to take up, and then we're having a pre-construction meeting, I believe Tuesday on that. And getting ready for sidewalks and paving.
Can I speak to the Straska Farm real quick?
Sure.
I can do it later. I went to a conference, the Connecticut Association of Wetland Scientists, and this Connecticut Deep Environmental Review Team were there, and it's a grant-free program that offers assistance and guidance and whatever for natural resource planning and things like that. So for like trails or other things that could be done at Straska. So I didn't know if that's been explored. I know there's a group on that. I don't know if you want to take it back to them, or, I mean, it's free money.
Yeah, trails are like maybe third down on the list of.
It's
But
different
that's
things.
interesting. Yeah, thank you.
There's different things, but they can help. I said, we're looking to build a barn for education, and they said that there's all kinds of things that they could do to help.
Wow.
And it's a government-funded program, and I was like, well, I should take it for, it's.
One other thing I forgot to mention is that we just signed the contract for the Phase 2 site assessment at 45 Evans Road, which was being executed through a grant. There, the three properties, 35, 45, and I think it's 65, the former tank farm at the end of.
Is that on the other side of the railroad tracks?
Yes, yeah, between the railroad tracks and the
Julie's
river.
property,
Yes.
he's
Yes,
talking about
yes,
having a dock.
ADC, yeah.
Yeah. How is the bank doing over there on that? Remember, he
Well,
clear cut that bank.
it's
Trees and they cut them all
vegetated. It's vegetated. I believe the monitoring had been completed a while back. I haven't seen any issues. The only issue we did see is there was a berm on top of the slope. That one area had been breached, but nothing it didn't result in anything. But that's maybe addressed as part of this Phase 2 going into Phase 3.
Okay, perfect. Open space?
I don't have anything.
Nothing? Legislation?
I did get a email of all the pending bills, proposed bills. I didn't see anything specific really to this commission, more to planning and zoning.
Okay.
There is one.
Which one?
The riparian buffers.
I did not see that.
So the riparian buffers one is mainly to add buffers to wetlands and rivers as a state mandate as opposed to just local. But in that, it wants to change the requirement for commissioners, to all commissioners, to have that training as opposed to just one.
That's part of the same bill.
Correct. So, yeah, so if that passes, we would all have to be trained. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay, thanks.
Well, the good thing is that's an online,
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
online one.
yeah, it mentions that in the bill language, I believe.
Conferences?
I did receive a notice for vernal pool training for conservation and inland wetland commissioners. It's on Saturday, April 6th, from 9 to 12:30 at the Connecticut Audubon Roger Torrey Peterson Estuary Center in Old Lyme. I did log in to try to sign up, and it was sold out with a waiting list.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. That it?
Okay, the rest I have is under correspondence.
Correspondence and communications.
Okay, we did receive a notice from Connecticut Pond Services for treatment of West Ridge Pond, which is annual for the condominiums. And I mentioned the Phase 2, so that's all I have for
Okay.
correspondence.
Other business.
Madam
have
Chairperson?
Sure,
I
go
see
ahead.
we seem to skip over number 3, and I still see people in the audience. I don't know if
No,
they.
I
There-
did bring it.
Okay,
Yeah, I did bring it up.
just not used to seeing people.
We're not that thrilled.
Yeah, it is
Interested in what's going on.
Project.
Ah, okay.
Does that mean you have to be here?
The same one on the same night, and she's now into it, and we've followed up on
Great.
the landfill.
Okay, great.
Come on up, ask us questions.
I have a question.
Okay, let me just get through this before I forget, okay? Dave, I do have a couple of things. I noticed over the weekend, and I've been meaning to call you, over on Woodfield Crossing, if you're coming off or turning onto Woodfield Crossing from Wildwood, that first house on your left-hand side, right along the brook there, they did some cutting of some trees. Can you just take a look at that and just make sure that
See if it
everything's
was
okay?
Some kind of storm damage, or if it was.
No, it wasn't storm damage. These were good-looking trees. Okay, they did it over the weekend.
Of course they did.
What's going on with Belden, with that culvert there?
We're waiting on the soil scientist for the two conditions for the federal wetland line, and then the average high water line.
Okay.
We've been trying to work with Dean Gustafson. He's been very busy, but he had mentioned, we're emailing back and forth, that recently, I don't have the email with me, but recently there was changes to some of the criteria or something, maybe 2 months ago.
For the ordinary high water line?
I forget which one it was for.
There were new regs from the Army Corps, but it wasn't 2 months ago. I think it was last year, but maybe
But,
he's just now
you know,
started to apply it.
Well, I
Yeah.
understand it's a smaller project for something, but those two conditions we have to satisfy before we can go out to bid.
Okay, one more. Have we any update on the Silas D 991 project? That one land right there where they were going to put in the hotel and at that point, Olive Garden?
There's no update. As far as I know, the MDC is engineering the relocation of the big transmission line that goes through there. That's underway. They did get approval to change the non-access line at the beginning of the on-ramp. They got approval, I think that came before the commission before I was here, about the trees.
Yes.
Their clearing of the trees within the state right-of-way by the on-ramp. There's been no further action. There's been a lot of inquiries.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, because that was quite a while when we walked that site.
A year or more?
Before I was here.
Yeah. So at least 2 years ago. So, okay.
Yeah, actually, I think one question came up about the expiration dates of it, but that fell
Within the
under-
pandemic.
More for the planning and zoning
Right.
approval, or stipulated, approval of the stipulated agreement.
Yep.
And that fell under the
The
extensions that were.
Through the
were
pandemic,
during
right?
COVID,
Yep.
like 14-year extensions.
Yeah.
Like the founders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the foundries, yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Do you have any questions for us?
Wait, come up to the mic.
Come on.
Ignorance a little bit. Where do we find the plans for the Straska Farm?
Identify yourself, please.
Scott Olmsted, 36 Tall Pines Lane in Rocky Hill. Where do we find the plans for the Straska Farm?
You can, on the town website, there's a tab for the Straska Farm, or you can contact me or follow me back to my office. I can give you a set of plans. And if you have, I don't know what type of project you're doing, but if you have other questions, I'll give you my card, and you can call or email any follow-up questions.
No, she just has to be at any of the town commissions. She just has to report back
Is
on
this
it.
Miss Harding?
So it was interesting. It was.
Two kids that did the same thing, yeah?
She was. It was at Miss Harding's class.
Miss
yes.
Harding, yeah.
She entertained her with her synopsis of the last
Starting is
meeting.
so-
Hard to describe the last meeting, wasn't it?
She did a pretty
In
good
100
description.
words or less.
Had some kind of Kardashian type of thing.
I said it was a political version of the Kardashians.
So I guess my other question in regards to that is, how is it, he's owned this property since 2003, I think, or maybe longer than that? How is it that it's taken this long to get a company like Red to come in and just take care of it?
Well, with
I haven't
this-
been in on all of it, so I
Yeah.
don't know. There's probably a lot
You
more
want
to it.
that?
than-
That's-
Well, we'll give you the little synopsis. This whole issue right now that we're dealing with just came up.
Because he cut the trees and stuff like
Yes.
that. Okay, we got that one.
Yes, yeah. But the whole issue with the dump, the former landfill, goes back many years
Yeah.
with him ever since him and his partners purchased it back, so back in
They
2003.
did prepare 2 closure plans.
Yes.
And the town and the Great Meadows Trust filed as interveners to participate in that approval process for DEP.
Okay.
And they, very generally speaking, Meadow Properties just kind of dropped the projects, stopped all efforts. No, they never came before commissions for approvals.
No.
There was a proposal that came in front of us for that property.
Yeah, I think that was
Never
before me. yeah.
Approved it.
Right.
Yeah.
Never, there was never an approval. There was, and it basically, they wanted to haul in material to cap the landfill, but they wanted to raise it by about 40 feet. And then they came back with a second one, raising it less.
And the fill that they wanted to bring in was questionable quality, lots of broken glass and other things, not the fill that you would want to put on top.
But I guess that was my question. Why wouldn't he have just hired somebody like this?
That's a good question.
Take care
Good
of it,
question.
take care-
We-
we'd have been done with
asked-
this
I
Yes.
tried to
20
when you
years
brought
ago.
that letter, and it just wasn't appropriate
Yeah.
company.
And
We just asked him,
Yes,
Not mad.
question
wondered the
asked him.
same thing. Exactly, yes.
And the other issue is that there's actually 2 issues. We are concerned with the wetlands that goes by it and erosion into it.
Yep.
While we hate the fact that the dump is leaching out, that's not our jurisdiction.
Yeah, that falls under deep and weed.
So DEP never followed up, why haven't you finished capping this? And we were just concerned, is any sand or anything macroscopic running into the wetlands? And it wasn't until neighbors who watch him like a hawk saw that he had cleared the entire area that it came out that it's like, okay, you've cleared the area, now there's runoff, we've got to get involved because you're not allowed to have runoff, and that is our jurisdiction.
Yes.
Yeah, I warned my wife if she sent me to some of these things, I was probably going to get involved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. I hope you get a good grade.
Oh, shoot.
Good, good for you.
Want to
It's on
wait
the
just a
record.
minute.
You got
I can get you
100.
those plans.
Okay, with that said, do I have a motion for adjournment, please? Motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
6.
I'd like to make a
Second.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in